Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Accountant, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, a podcast network for accountants and bookkeepers supported by our Patreon community. Speaking of which, we start each and every show with a shout out to our coolest of cool listeners, who are Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahul, and Peter Richardson. Thank you for your ongoing support. And just a reminder to everybody, we'll be putting that Patreon community on pause in the coming weeks as we come to terms with our latest news and come up with a plan of action for going forwards. I don't think we've discussed that on air, have we? And maybe we should. We'll put that on the list.
Well, I don't think the official announcement's been made yet. We were told very clearly that it has to come after that one.
Fine. We will hold fire then. Cool. So, as always, guys, we are here. We're live. It is 8:30 on the Monday morning for episode 191. And joining me, as always, is Mr. Aaron Patrick. But, Aaron, you are not in any of your offices. Where are you today?
I'm in a Tim Hortons in... Is it Britain's newest city? Is that still the case? Or have we got... Was there one since Milton Keynes? I think it's the newest city, right?
I think that is still the newest city, yeah.
Yeah, or at least the newest, purpose-built, isn't it? Because that's what they're famous for. It's purpose-built city, isn't it? Yeah, I'm in MK at Milton Keynes. I'm on my way to a client on site with them today. And, yeah, very early get up so that I could get to somewhere a little bit more, I wanted to be just on the outskirts of the client without kind of getting too much. So, yeah, I'm on my way there. It's a nice sunny day. Good weekend as well. There was a very good race, wasn't it? Did you guys or did you get to watch? Oh, of course you did. I was speaking to you at the time, wasn't I? But it was a good race, right? It was good.
Yeah, it was a really good race.
Yeah. I feel like the season's starting to heat up, especially with next week being Silverstone. I'll be there, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I feel like we're just at that crescendo part of the season where it's starting to move in. So yeah, good times. What about yourself, Johann? And it sounds like you got a bit of a sore throat.
I'm a bit bunged up, courtesy of being in air-conditioned rooms and networking with people all last week at an event. So some germ-infested air conditioning unit, either on the trains or in the meeting rooms that I was speaking in, has well and truly done a number on me. I'm much better today than I was yesterday, which is good news. So yeah, but then spent the weekend not doing a lot, to be honest with you. Watched the F1 as you did, which was good. We're getting a closer and closer competition, but yeah. And then I'm at home for the day today and Friday. Oh no, today is my only day at home today. Thinking about
it. That's the way good fumbles, isn't it, at the moment? It just seems like there's always something going on, isn't there? Always. Yeah.
There certainly is. But hey ho. So let's jump into the community before we go anywhere else. So I'm going to ignore the first comment because it was well before 8:30, and the rules are first to 8:30. We go from there. Cheryl says, "Good morning. 10 degrees cooler this week." Oh, it's so much nicer, isn't it? Like last week, I got off the train in Stratford-upon-Avon last week. Had to wait 2.5 minutes for my Uber, and I nearly died in 35 degrees heat. It was hideous. Paul says, "Good morning." Good morning to Paul. Susanna says, "Great morning from all. Good morning all from a beautiful day in Henley." More to bookkeeping says, "Good morning all." And Cheryl says, "Doncaster was given city status recently." There we go. You see, this is why we have our community full of facts.
But it wasn't purpose-built, though, wasn't it? That's what I was trying to say. Because I think I can't think of a different city that was built after Milton Keynes. I feel like it was the only one that was like, because it wasn't like the first city built from scratch in centuries or something daft.
Yeah, and then we all looked at it and went, ugh, that didn't go well. Let's not do that again.
Didn't do that right.
Lisa Mulholland says, "Good morning, Lisa." Basil Great to have you back in better health. Thank you. And Catherine, you know what I'm going to say about the heat. No, go on,
She
Catherine.
loves every moment of it. She loves
Yeah.
every moment of it. That's what she's going to say. She's probably going to say, I wish it was hotter.
And Sue Green says, good morning from Sun Hot Lease, Italy. Very nice. Sue is winning the prize for
Still on a
joining us from the
hollybobs.
first place. And Kirsty says, good morning, everyone. Early in the chat as driving to Boston, I think.
Where's
Right.
Boston? I don't know where that is.
No, I've never heard of it. Okay, let's jump into some topics because we have a lot of topics to discuss. Mainly thanks to HMRC issuing their latest briefing on all the consultations they want to do. But before we jump into all of that and explain how incompetent HMRC are, and how crap they are at trying to pretend that they aren't doing something which they really are doing, let's talk about zero price rises. It's always a fun day on the internet when Xero and QuickBooks put their prices up. So yeah, Xero put their prices up. The starter package stays where it is. The next two packages go up by £2 a month, and the top tier packages, comprehensive and ultimate, go up by £5 a month, which is, of course, the usual hoo-ha of I'm looking around, I'm shopping around, blah blah blah. These are the same people that have said it for the last 4 years and still haven't moved. So I'm not convinced. I mean, it's not really even inflationary, is it, this kind of increase? So, yeah, I've updated my pricing calculator in Engager, and in September we'll adjust everyone's repeating invoices to replicate the new increase. I'm not being funny. If that £2 a month increase is too much to put on an invoice, I think you've got bigger problems. Like your clients, like how much, if your client's spending £200 a month, it's less than 1% increase.
Yeah.
And if your clients are already paying £55 to £60 a month for comprehensive and unlimited, £5 a month for those kind of clients, splash in the ocean. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on this one, Aaron?
I get the frustration because I get
what,
a lot
by
of
prices going up once a year every year?
No, I get the frustration of all these prices because it's not just once a year every year, is it? It's you look back historically to what we've got to now, right? And for small businesses, that's it. That some of them can really feel that squeeze at the moment. Like there is that, and I do get that. And I think what people come back to is the fact that what are they getting for their cash? Because if Xero had like taken those those fee increase and put into like customer services, for example, okay, not product, but something that is tangible, I think everyone would be kind of like, okay, that's a good investment. Or if they put it into some, really cool new solution or something, right? Like imagine this new work papers they're getting. I believe it's a paid on add-on, right? Imagine it was the X amount of increase, but you get the work papers for it, or something tangible like that. I can fully justify why people wouldn't be so upset. I think, and I'm getting it more my end because of the Intuit QuickBooks kind of comparison. But the whole idea that people are spending more and more and more on a product where primarily the biggest update these days is all to do with this AI enhancement or this new chat box. And I keep seeing the same people saying the same things, in fairness. Why are we paying for something that we didn't ask for? And I kind of get where they're coming from. I do see that kind of pain point. But at the same time, everything's going up, every price point. It doesn't matter what service I look at, from Netflix to Sky Sports, to all of them. They've all got a price increase.
Why am I paying for something I've not asked for? Doesn't wash with me.
Yeah.
Netflix put their prices up. I could argue, why am I paying an increased price for these documentaries that I never asked for?
Yeah.
that's not how the subscription world works. Like, you don't go to to Disney and go, I'm not a Star Wars fan. Can you drop my price because I didn't ask for all these Star Wars films and programs you've created? Like, that's just not how this works.
True. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen so many of these arguments. So it's been interesting this time around as well. If you look at social media of how many people have, before the negativity come out, has kind of tried to preempt it and tried to almost mock the people for complaining about the price increase, right? There's been a lot of that this time around. I feel like it's one of those where we'll pass the price on to our clients and they can then decide what they want to do with it. Like, if it is tipping them over the edge and it is too expensive, then there is actually alternatives out there, right? And there is options for them, at least. No one's tying them in these days.
Exactly. It's the people that do the same social post every week, every year, though, or every time there's a price increase, saying, I'm shopping around, who's better priced. But they never actually do it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that really bug me. Like, actually, it's your own inaction that's caused you this problem again this year because you didn't actually take the action you told us you were going to take last year. Like,
I mean, I will say one thing, though, this time around. I do feel sorry for the people who have to go through the manual updating the prices, because we don't have that many zero clients. It's going to be fine. But the new practices we bought in my old practices or my current practices, price increases were fine. I just go into the back end, press 2 buttons, however many prices I had to do, but 2 buttons for each price increase, or even upload a spreadsheet if I needed to, right? But I could do a mass update to the recurring invoices, and that's it, done. Right? I didn't have to worry about it from there on in. In this current thing, because we're still changing things and we're still kind of moving things around and everything else, for those price increases, we're going to have to manually go into every client to make those adjustments. So that bit I can see people getting really like ouchy about, right? Like, that is it's a painful kind of update that they're going to have to look into. So I do see that bit. I see that as it's not just it's not the price increase itself. It's sometimes the cost of implementing that price increase that can get frustrating. But my understanding, and maybe I've got this wrong, is a lot of the zero firms out there, they let the clients pay for it themselves, right? Is that still the case, do you reckon?
Yeah. That is still very much largely the case from what I've seen, because Zero has made it more incentivizing for us to do that. So I don't think this is the case anymore, but a few years ago, it used to be a case of, if I paid the client subscription, I got X amount of points. If the client paid their own subscription, I got twice the amount of points. Towards the platinum, towards the partner status and stuff. So I would be like, Zero's always been very clear about their direction would be they prefer the client to pay for their subscription directly, because that way they don't have this issue of ownership of data. Like, we've all had it where accountants are withholding information during professional clearance because they've just got an invoice that's not been paid, or they're disputing something. And it's like, well, that's your client's data. You can't legally withhold that from them.
Yep.
Zero's approach to that was, right, let's encourage all the clients to have their own subscription so that they pay, so they maintain control of their data.
Which I don't think is going to change in the Intuit world, or the free agent's the same, right? Like, and Sage, isn't it? It is we pay for the license and we push it on. I just wish there was a more elegant way of doing that, right? Like, I think all of those solutions could invest in a more elegant way of actually passing that cost on. Because at the moment, I'm still using a spreadsheet to manage all that, and spreadsheet can only take you so far, etc., etc.
Yeah,
I have played around with a tool that can do it for us and everything else. I've played around with making my own tool, right? using this new hobby of mine with Lovable and everything else. But I just wish it was done by them. I think if it was done by them and there was an elegant way of passing these costs on, I do think a lot of this friction from price increases would be less problematic, because it's not just the price. Like I said, it's not just the price increase; it's the admin involved in getting a price increase out there. There's frustration. I mean, if you technically look into it, every one of your engagement letters should really change over time to reflect the new price, right? Like if you're going to put the price, it's bits like that for me. That's why I wish there was a more elegant way of doing this than just having to. And because we don't really issue engagement letters en masse, so for us, it will just get absorbed in the next annual increase that they get normally on their kind of anniversary with us, right? So it will happen over time. Still a X amount of time of everyone having to update that engagement letter for that new price point. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that bit that I think most people are more frustrated. It's less the monetary value; it's more administration burden that comes with any of these price increases.
But then, if you look at Catherine in the comments, apart from saying she wishes it was hotter last week because not her, Catherine said, "I changed my clients to pay for their own softwares a while ago because I couldn't be bothered with the change." Brilliant. We should all take a page out of Catherine's book here. If administrating the software prices is too much, then instead of doing that administration this time round, spend that administration time on rolling it out so that your clients pay for subscriptions directly, and then you won't have to deal with this ever again.
I suppose the problem is some software, it's not attractive to do that, right? And I'm not just talking about our general ledger or FMS solutions, whatever you want to call them, bookkeeping platforms, but other tools we use. There's no incentivized reason for letting the clients to pay for it.
No.
And there are,
but those tools generally don't have the price increases or the bad press for it, price increases that we see elsewhere.
I mean, one certainly does. One second, give me 20 seconds to. You all know what I'm about to press. There's obviously. I've really ruined this, haven't I? There's obviously. That was delayed, but yeah. They always get criticized for it, right? Like that's been one of their biggest pain points and problems of like growing their things, because that's all they were talked about, right? Is the aggressive price increase and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't think we can get away with it, can we? There's always going to be ones. I mean, it's how you incorporate that fee. If you are like our firm, where we insist on passing that cost over to them, and they always get the recommended retail price on their invoice as a line item, and then we discount accordingly, then there's always an administration thing. I suppose if you're just absorbing it and you don't even tell the client about it, I suppose that's a different part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So Paul says this is the week MTD kicks off for us all. Hope everyone is ready. It is this week. We shall see. Yep. We shall see.
Wasn't it only 300,000 signed up at this point, something like that?
Oh, there's a massive amount of people that haven't registered yet that should have registered.
Yeah.
So
I mean, full transparency, a couple of them are our clients, because we're still going back and forth with them, trying to say, "Oh, you want to sign yourself up, or do you want to sign our little form to let us sign you up?" Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we can't do either. Like, we can't do this for you. You have to choose one of those options. And that's clients for you, isn't
it? Paul also says typical forum warrior responses with price increases.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then he says, we just have a disclaimer on the software schedule stating the price of software may change rather than issue new LOEs. You just need to check, Paul, that is covered by I'm sure you have, but for anyone that hears that idea and goes, "Oh, I'll just do that," you need to check that your insurance covers that terminology and allows for that, and that your governing bodies allow for that. Because every insurance provider will have different rules about this. Every governing body has different rules about it. So you need to just check that you're in compliance with them rather than just hearing what is a very good idea from Paul and assuming that if he's doing it, it must be okay to do it for everybody. Just because I've seen people fall into that trap before.
And for me as well, I just get it must be some sort of, I don't know, something on the spectrum or something. But if I have an LOE that says one figure, my invoice has to be the same, right? Especially if I've just issued it. If it mid cycle changes happen, that's fine. But if I'm issuing a brand new LOE, I'll always make sure it agrees to what that that monthly fee is going to be. It's just something in my head, and I know it's mostly compliance led, but it's also something in my head as well. It's like, wait a minute, why are these not lining up? So.
Yeah, no, I get that. And Clive says, "Good morning, chaps. Good morning, Clive. Hope you're well." Right. Okay.
Clive, just so he knows, keep an eye out for Tuesday's video because he makes a guest appearance on the QuickBooks channel.
Ooh. Right.
Spoiler alert.
Let's go into it. In fact, shall we talk about another software provider first and then jump into the HMRC disaster that was last week?
Go for it.
So, Starling Bank have announced expense cards. What can go wrong? This is going to be brilliant. Aaron, you've done a bit of digging and you found out exactly what's going to go wrong. So talk us through it.
So the premise, fully get behind. The execution, not sure as accountants and bookkeepers are going to be jumping for joy for this. They've decided that expense claim cards are going to be expense, as in the costs themselves, or the money will be taken out of pots or space. Actually, no, they call them spaces, don't they? But same concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what that means is that depending on what software you use, depending on what connection you've got, a majority of the connections and software out there means we're not going to be able to see those expenses actually being taken from the bank account, which means we're going to have reconciliation issues and everything else. And for all those zero fan boys and girls who tell me that they don't need bank reconciliations, have you tried reconciling pots lately where there's been expenses coming out of it and has not been accounted for? There is workarounds. I've done a load of videos on how to work around them, etc., etc., etc. Try and make it a little bit more elegant. And Starling definitely have this. I'm sure the rest will come up soon. There is a increase in option where when your client attaches these bank accounts, they can choose to include or exclude the pots. So, they're your workarounds. But if they're an existing connection or the client wasn't aware about this choice and they're a bit confused and they choose the wrong one, and right? This is just another friction. Great idea. We love expense claims cards, like, virtually create an expense claim card, giving it to your team. Beautiful. We love doing that. But this idea that basically they're going to cause us with reconciliation issues every single month, not sure I'm up for that. And I'm sure, especially the bookkeepers out there, are not going to be happy when they start playing around with this. So, yeah. I mean, is there a better, more elegant solution in product? Maybe not, but yeah, I don't think they've realised how much pain that's going to cause us, right?
No, I mean, Starling seem quite oblivious to pain they cause accountants and bookkeepers. We've seen that in recent emails from them.
I mean, are they trying to eradicate accountants and bookkeepers at this point? Because they're doing a good job if they're not. I mean, they've bought an accounting practice to use their software. They keep saying these very, very strange things. Key members of staff that were the face for accountants and bookkeepers have suddenly vacated their position, and now they're causing bookkeeping issues for us. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying if you were, looking at writing on the wall, doesn't look very promising, does it?
No. I mean, put it this way, they're not on our recommendation list for banks to use. So yeah, it sounds like another mess coming our way, courtesy of Starling, which will be a delight to deal with.
The thing that frustrates me about all this, right, is where's the communication? Where's the heads up accountants and bookkeepers? This was the only way we could do it. We're going to try and find like I promise a solution later down the line, but for now, just be aware, because I imagine our whole community would have picked up on it. No problem. I'm thinking even juniors in my team that probably would be like oblivious to what's going on and just so confused why it doesn't balance. Do you know what I mean? Like there's going to be situations, or I mean, I took on a set of accounts from a counter. They seem like lovely people, and you know, we even rang them up because there was a few question marks and everything else that we just wanted to clarify. And they're lovely people and everything else, but they didn't realize about this whole you could pay from spaces and pots, and they just missed X amount of expenses for this particular client because they had no idea that that was even a thing, right? Like they just assumed this money was going into a pot somewhere and just growing and growing and growing. There's bits like this that really frustrate me. Like,
surely a bit of due diligence on that accounting firm's behalf, though. Do they not do like a screenshot? Like, so when we do year end, if we've got a client that's got a Starling account, we ask for statements, but we also ask them to screenshot their balances on their pots.
Yeah.
Which would have identified that there's an issue here.
But the problem is you can't historically screenshot, can you? And I think that, you know, and yeah, for them, their controls were not robust enough to even check it, right? They were just getting bank statements and hoping for the best. But, you know, like you said, you have to put that extra level in and go from there. But that's noticing in the first place it's a Starling or a Tide or one that does do space. You know what I mean? Like it's just great. The premise of it, I love the idea of spaces and things. I use them myself. I've got like 4 different spaces at any one time in every different business, right? Like taxes and all sorts get scurried away. But from the accounting and bookkeeping point of view, they're just a nightmare. And now they've allowed expenses to come out of them. It just causes problems because the thing is we just manually have to put, for most situations, we have to manually put them in, right? Unless we use the new connections that ignore spaces and things. And then when we ignore them, then we can't help the client as much, right? Because we can't, like, there's nothing more satisfying than going to a client and going, well done for putting 10k, for example, away for your tax bill, but it's 8k or 6k, and you know, feel free to take the rest out to do what you want with. Do you know what I mean? Like that's really good. Or the opposite way around. Ouch, you know, you've put 8k away, but it's 10k you need. You know, let's talk about how we can help you kind of get that back to true it up. But yeah, it's just frustrating, isn't it? Because the premise of it is so pro business, but the execution is just causing administration that, you know, we just don't have the resources and time to do properly, right?
No, especially with all the latest HMRC changes that are about to come, because it sounds like we've got another rough 5 years ahead of us. Before we go into that, though, Catherine says sigh when we say bookkeepers aren't going to be happy about expense cards. And Paul says Uber have introduced a new credit card for drivers, which has made dealing with expenses more challenging because the funds come from the payouts. Oh,
ouch.
That sounds like a control account nightmare waiting to happen.
Yep. Ouch. That is again, great concept. Absolutely lovely concept. That's a great way of like teaching you.
Fantastic.
Great way of teaching them about profitability, right? Like, oh, why is my payout so low this month? Oh, because you know it's costing me X, Y to even run the vehicle. Yeah. But that's quite a good tough love, isn't it? But it's a good way of teaching that Uber driver that actually they've got to be more savvy about this, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually could come in quite useful to them. But that's an administration nightmare. And again, who's going to know about that outside of specialists like Paul, right? Like what if we take on a client, you know, that's knowledge that is actually quite critical to know, right? And I think that's where all these little niches of complications, like now knowing that if they've got a Starling, be very, very wary, right? Like that's now knowledge we've got to know. It's no use just me knowing that and you knowing that. The whole team needs to know it, right? And that's where it gets really difficult.
Yes, there'll be a team-wide bulletin going out on Slack this morning about that to my team. Right. Let's talk about the positivity that is HMRC's announcement last week. Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. So, for context, an email went out last week to HMRC agents, detailing things that they're putting into consultation and they're looking at in the years ahead. Elephant in the room has always been, oh, we're doing quarterly returns for MTD going forwards. That won't change the payment schedule. You'll still have your January and July payments. They couldn't even wait for the first MTD quarterly filing period to end before they announced, we're consulting on quarterly payments, people. I mean, it's a joke. But ultimately, what they have said is that there will be a consultation opened up very shortly where they basically want to bring tax payments for MTD IT more closer to when the money is earned. So we will be paying basically that MTD IT quarterly filing that we've been told for years won't be generating a tax bill. It's just a position of the tax account for that point will now result in, if this consultation, okay, regardless of what the consultation finds, because they won't listen to it.
Yep.
It is highly likely that the government will legislate for us to start paying quarterly MTD IT filings in the same way VAT returns are paid quarterly. We all knew it was coming. I think it's a disgrace that HMRC tried to pretend it wasn't coming. And the fact that I think the biggest salt on the wound here is that they couldn't even wait a couple more weeks to announce this while the first MTD quarterly return period closed off. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts on this, Aaron?
I mean, I was in Westminster, 2 years ago, was it now?
Yep.
I got invited to a small business payment forum. It was all about late payments and everything else, which thankfully has actually gone positive for them. So we maybe we made a difference on that one. Who knows? But I was talking to ministers at the time and saying, look, making tax digital is all good, all well and good. And again, the premise really, really up for. Let's digitalize the way we do tax returns going forward. Blah blah blah. Let's make it more accessible. All that sort of stuff. Great. But I did say at the time, why, as a carrot on the stick, wasn't quarterly payments an option anyway to get people to sign up? Because this was when they were crying out for, remember the beta issue where they just got no one was uptaking on it. They were just trying to find ways. And I said at the time, I said, look, use this as an incentive, like incentivize people, ask them to pay the things on a quarterly basis. We could still have like annual tax declarations, and if you make the interest that these people are putting into palatable and at least worthwhile, I'm sure people would love to actually pay quarterly, because I've got a lot of clients who dread the annual bill, like they dread the what that figure's going to be. Imagine that figure comes through and they've already paid it off, or they've got they're at a point where it's all done and dusted. They're going to feel so much better, aren't they, and so much everything else. So I just wish this was it was an elephant in the room, because we, like you said, we all knew it was going to happen. But why couldn't they have put this on? Let's encourage them way back when. Let's release MTD with this as a carrot on the stick, as a reason actually it's beneficial to you. Come join the MTD program, or be mandated in the MTD program, and here's an option to pay quarterly. Heck, we'll slightly reward you for it in the process. Do you know what I mean? Like that to me sounds like it was a win-win for everyone. And yeah, at some point they'll mandate it and they'll take away the reward, or however it's going to work. But if they gave you a carrot on the stick, how many clients would you've jumped into it? Remember, I don't know if you were doing much payroll around then, but when RTI first came in for payroll, real-time information, I'll always remember that incentive they gave us, I think it was 100 quid or 150 quid or something. That incentive they gave us to join early, we racked up the amount of people, because everyone wanted that incentive, right? Like, and surely the cost versus reward that HMRC got out of that must have been substantial. They must have got so much benefit for all these new people coming into the scheme early, helping them and all that sort of stuff, that the financial incentive must have been a drop in the ocean to him, right? And we just don't seem to want to do that anymore. We don't seem to want to incentivize change and bring people on. And I generally feel like this quarterly payment would be incentive to a lot of clients other than a burden. And all we've done now is, because communication has been poor, like you said, we've not even got to the end of the first MTD quarter. It's all been hit with negativity because of the way it was delivered and the way that it was announced and everything else. And, or I suppose it's not even been announced yet. It proposed, right? And that to me is the real shame here, when we could have had that amazing carrot on the stick.
Yeah. Now, Cheryl says in the comments, it's only for self-employed people who also have PAYE earnings at the moment, isn't it? It is, but that wasn't on the radar originally. So I think the route and the direction they want to go in is very clear here. And I think,
yeah,
again, it's this. I think was it last week or the week before we discussed it, where they're drip feeding things in, and actually that makes it more complex because, oh, hang on a minute, you've got a new PAYE job. Hang on, that means you're now going on to quarterly payments instead of annual payments, whereas last year you're on annual payments because you didn't have a PAYE. Why are we complicating it? Like, yeah. It requires more policing and administration and explanation. I think if they're going to do it, just get on with it, pull the plaster off.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, incentivize it. Like, everyone benefits from this, right? HMRC gets the cash in early. We or small businesses, they get clarity on what their bill's going to be. Yeah, I'm struggling to find the big disincentive of this. Like, what am I missing? What's the big reason why our current system is so good that we shouldn't change it?
I don't disagree. But I just wish there was a bit more honesty and transparency from HMRC on this, and that this was always the ulterior motive. This was always the end they wanted to get to. I think the biggest problem is, whilst businesses are struggling out there, owners are often cash rolling their business based on, I've got the money for next January's payment already. If I need to dip into that, I can, as long as I top it back up again. So it can make it a bit tighter for them. But again, yeah. Is this just HMRC finding money-making opportunities? Like, payments are then kind of, I suppose payments are like, if you then miss payments, HMRC have got the opportunity to charge penalties and stuff like that. It's a problem. Now we're about to lose Aaron because his internet time's out, but I should still be running. So if you can just confirm in the comments, you can still hear and see myself. And I'll go through some of the comments whilst we're waiting for Aaron to rejoin us. Catherine says, I never get these notifications. Do I need to tick a box somewhere on my agent account? I was just looking at the email, Catherine. I can't see anywhere where you can sign up on the email for this. But it comes from HMRC Help and Support. No reply at advice.hmrc.gov. I don't know where I found that and when I signed up to that, if I'm honest. Fantastic. That now splits me across two screens. That's, yeah. So, but what I would suggest is that this is the type of thing where you speak to someone at HMRC at the Accountex stand or DAS stand or something, to find out where you go to sign up to these kinds of bulletins. I think I signed up to this like 9 years ago. I couldn't tell you where it is or how I signed up to it, I'm afraid, Catherine. But it's so important that we have this available to us. Clive says, yes, I can hear you. Steph says, we can see and hear you. Paul says, all clear. Fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Cheryl says, I agree, but these people are already paying some PAYE. It's full self-employed that needs to start paying sooner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Aaron.
Thank you. put some money in the coffers for the Wi-Fi, so I'm allowed back on again.
Topped it up for another 20p.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that was the first of a few announcements. The second one is they're consulting on whether they should mandate PAYE and VAT payments via direct debit. I get what they're trying to do here, because I imagine most people go, "Oh, sorry, I got, the date was on a weekend, so I've paid you late, blah blah blah." But I also think it's them trying to make sure that if there's any money in that bank account, it's theirs. They don't want you bankrolling your business on credit with them. I would point out any semi-switched on business owner would set up a direct debit to a bank account where they don't put many pennies in, and they'll put the money into that bank account when it suits them. I don't think this is the golden bullet HMRC think it is.
Yeah. The thing is, though, if they make setting up direct debits easier and less friction, I think they'd have more of an uptake, right? So they can mandate this as much as they want and they go from there. But I think the investment needs to be on actually making it easier for them. Like, make it so that as an agent, we can send a link to a client, for example, fill out your direct debit from here or something, so we can assist them and help them. There's nothing more frustrating at the moment that as agents, our hands are completely tied. I've got agent access to one of my companies, right? One of my companies hasn't got direct debit set up for PAYE. It's been a rigmarole, and this is someone who's dealt with HMRC and been through the trials and everything. I know the hoops to jump through and everything else. I have had a torrid time setting up direct debit for one of my businesses at the moment, and that's me, who's knowledgeable and well, hopefully knowledgeable. At least I've got some prior experience. Let's put it that way. Knowledgeable, probably too thing, isn't it? But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they want to mandate these sort of things, they want to bring these sort of things in. The premise of it is a good idea, right? That maybe not as harsh to mandate, but to encourage people to be on direct debit. Yeah, make our lives easier at the end of the year when we don't have to go through and find out that they're X amount behind on the PAY bill or whatever it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Let's try and get to a point where these sort of things are less common. But this will only work if they take away the friction of signing up an MTD, signing up for direct debit in the first place, right? Like, put the resource into there first, then mandate. It surely has to be the better way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It needs to be easier. Because like when you register for VAT or PAYE at the moment, it offers you the opportunity to put in your bank details to sign up for a mandate for direct debit. Yeah. But then there's a box to say, I've not got my bank details yet because we're only just setting up. Yeah. But then there's no follow-up, there's no reminders, there's no simple process to go, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Have you now got your bank details? If so, click here type thing. Yeah,
that whole process of signing up, getting up to date, what frustrates me is even the new ACS account. So, when you talk about MTD, you talk about VAT, they're supposed to be on this new fancy platform, this new agent services account, which has got, our best interests at heart and everything else. It's not even got that bit right. So the historical stuff is frustrating, but it's there's kind of that hope, isn't there, that when it modernizes, when it comes over to ASA, that some of the pain points will go away. My fear is that we're not fixing the pain points now, right? We're still for VAT and for the pain points are still there, and I just hope going forward that there's got to be a more elegant way of setting clients up, of getting them to set up direct debits, and why? Like, has anyone ever found out why payment direct debits and refund direct debits for that are two different bank accounts? Like, what? So you set up the direct debit to make payments, then on the off chance you get a refund for whatever reason, they'll hold on to it because you didn't provide a secondary bank account. But has anyone ever found out the reason for that? There must be a.
They issue you a paper check when most banks don't accept checks anymore, And then you have to call them, ask them to cancel the check. They've got to check that it's not been banked. And then they're going to issue. Oh, it's just a flipping mess. Paul says, win DD for the win. Too many clients transpose numbers and try to blame us when they get late payment notice from HMRC. Very true. Very true.
Paul, do you think transpose is actually the real thing, or is that just the excuse they're using, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, very true. Okay, and then the next big and the final really biggest part of this announcement is e-invoicing will come into mandation in 2030. Now, this has been around in the sidelines for a while.
Yeah.
Some tools like on Xero, when I go to send an invoice, I have the option, do I want to send it as an e-invoice? So I'm not too worried about that aspect. We knew this was coming. I think what this though highlights to me, especially with conversations I've been having in the last few weeks. So I've spoken to quite a few firm owners recently in the last few weeks about their plans for exiting the firm. And what really struck home with me is so few I spoke to were talking about exiting because they were retiring or family requirements. It was frustration and fatigue of the constant changes of legislation and compliance within the industry. What worries me most about this isn't an employee of a business that's fed up with change. This is an entrepreneur entrepreneurs have a higher tolerance for change. They have a higher energy level for dealing with it, and they're getting fed up. Like, that's got to be a huge red flag to the future of our industry, when the entrepreneurs in the industry are going, you know what, I'm done. I've had enough. I'm out. So then this email comes out about e-invoicing. And I was thinking, I don't remember when we last had a year with no change in it. Like 2017 onwards, we started with VAT MTD.
Yep. Well,
15,
RTI
16
before that
was RTI.
Yeah.
Like we are now over 10 years of constant annual changes and stuff. And we've just been promised another 5 years of it through MTD it. They're going to do something with corporation tax. We just don't know what. And now e-invoicing.
And that's not counting for the company's house updates, right?
Exactly. So we've got another 5 years of it to go. This industry has faced annual changes for over 15 years. Find me any other industry that's had annual changes and uncertainty put onto it every year for 15 years, where we've had to go and do the education because HMRC and Companies House have failed miserably. Like, I saw a really, really timely post the other day on LinkedIn, and it was 3 pictures of Homer Simpson. So Homer Simpson was in a sleeping bag, being dragged up a mountain, and it had HMRC written on his head. And the Sherpas that were dragging him up the mountain were called accountants and bookkeepers. And then Homer woke up and went, "Look how far I've come. I'm not even tired yet." It's like, yeah, HMRC, you've come really far on the backs of the accounting and bookkeeping industry. I don't know how much further we can drag them before they start putting some weight into it and pulling their own weight. So yeah, e-invoicing is on its way, people.
I mean, there are some positive stuff, right? Like, well, as I said, when we were in Westminster, it was all about late payments for small businesses. E-invoicing will help because, in theory, that makes it very, very accountable for invoice A to go to invoice B. So if we're going to legislate for late payment fees and, we're going to put rules and regulations in place, actually having some sort of blockchain or whatever technology they're going to use to, monodate/mandate those invoices, it all comes on the back of that, doesn't it? Because, you know, what if you're going to try and claim for late payment fees and you've sent an invoice via a duplicate book, like, you don't have much to stand on, do you? Like, it's a, you know, it becomes, but if you're following the rules and regulations and there's an e-invoice that has got timestamps and all this sort of stuff and blah blah blah, and it becomes a lot easier, doesn't it, to go, right, company A sent company B, they received it at Y, the late payment should be X. Like, it should just be binary at that point, right? Because it should just follow the data and the data should make it nice and clean. That's the benefits of it. Implementing it should be relatively straightforward for the vast majority of you kind of, like, definitely every business we act for have already got software that uses it, you know. So for those, you know, represented clients is the term we're starting to use, isn't it? I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think they'll be, you know, we'll just take it on the chin, and like you said there, we'll carry the burden. Actually, I think the big problem is the unrepresented clients. Like, they're the ones who are going to suffer. They're the ones who are going to struggle. Yeah, they're just, yeah. The end goal sounds really nice, actually, doesn't it? A fully digital world where it goes in, because if they absolutely want to take this to the nth degree, what's stopping that e-invoice just being something that is transferable from one business to another and just appears in that client's ledger, right? Like, that to me is e-invoicing, right? It is, we've got a contract for A and B, everyone's agreed on it, we send an invoice in, and it magically appears in that other person's one. I think Xero have something similar, don't they, as a little like thing where you
they've had something similar to that for quite a few years now, like nearly 10 years, I'd say, based on what I'm just trying to recollect when I could remember it. So
but if e-invoicing was to get to its final form, that has to be agnostic of what solution you're using, right? Like, I send an invoice out, that company, it records in their ledger, everyone's happy, right? We've got two debits and credits either side, like, and accountants and bookkeepers love a debit and credit, right? So we should be jumping for joy at this announcement. But I don't see that chatter coming through. I don't see that bit coming through.
No, and I think, as Paul said in the comments, he discussed e-invoicing a lot with HMRC at Accountex, and their focus is primarily on B2B, not B2C. So again, we've got an incomplete picture.
Yeah, because they say focus on B2C, B2B, not B2C. But again, in my world of e-invoicing, if I go buy something as a business, I should have that confidence that we're going to get a digital record of that as part of that transaction, right? Like, e-invoicing to me as a layman, and, you know, if I'm buying something, I should get a digital copy of that no matter what, right? Like, that should be it. And to Paul's point there, B2B, I feel like there's a good opportunity, and maybe it comes to fruition, maybe it doesn't, that if I buy a service of a fellow professional, I'm going to get an e-invoice that's going to nicely roll into my accounting or bookkeeping solution. But I'm in Tim Hortons at the moment, and I go buy something. Why can't that be an e-invoice transaction as well? Like, isn't that the future we all want, where if we're making a business transaction, then it gets recorded there and then? Like, that to me is where it is. So this focus on B2B or versus B2C, how does Tim Hortons know if they're doing a business to customer or business to business? Personally, I think this is an allowable expense at the moment because I'm doing a podcast here, right? I should be allowed to account for it. But sometimes you just think, oh, what's the point? Like, it's so much steps to go through to get to that done. But if this was a true e-invoicing state, you could even put some guardrails in to make sure it is allowable, right? Transactional stage, right? That's just, you could get to that point. And I just feel like none of that's been talked about. It is just this softly approach to it all. And it feels like we're being forced on it because the rest of Europe's done it. So we best do it as well. It feels that way, right? Instead of trying to innovate and trying to, again, carrot on a stick, give us a reason for this to work.
Paul's impression was that it was just a focus on the VAT element, which again, like this could be a really useful tool that could modernize things. It could make life easier. And HMRC won't go all the way with it because actually all they care about is, can we track who should and shouldn't be VAT registered at this point on this?
When they could absolutely plug a massive gap in their coffers at this point in time, right? By going, for you to claim VAT, you have to have an e-invoice.
Yep.
Simple. Like that. Then what you've been charged will automatically show on your accounting ledger or bookkeeping ledger. There's no argument then, is there? Like, part of me hopes it never happens because it feels like a very painful Big Brother world. That would solve so many of the VAT investigations and everything, wouldn't it? Because it should be black and white. It becomes binary as opposed to like we were moaning the other day, weren't we, about what was it? VAT on electric cars charging on a forecourt, right?
Yeah.
Well, if that was an e-invoice and I tapped it and that was my e-invoice and that's how I could only claim with an e-invoice, haven't I just solved that problem? Do you know what I mean? Like
you have on the proviso the person issuing the e-invoice generates it correctly. Like we had
whatever they generate, they're gonna have to pay it off, right? So if they put 20%, it should be 0%. Oh well. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is the other way around. So we had a client who had a VAT inspection recently, and we'd been flagging to the client that these invoices aren't correct, but we're treating them as the written instruction that they are.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't invoices he was sending. It was invoices he was receiving from a supplier.
Yeah.
And HMRC flagged it in their inspection. We went, well, where does the responsibility lie? We didn't issue that invoice. We knew it was incorrect, and we've got written evidence that we've logged it all. Like, but ultimately, you follow the written instruction provided by the person that issues the invoice. So they've now gone off to investigate them instead. But e-invoicing is still going to be subject to human error.
But if it's a blockchain type event where A and B, or debits and credits, whatever you want to call them, right, are the same, then slap on the wrist and everything. But they've had to pay that VAT over because they declared that, or they haven't paid that. You know what I mean? Like whichever way around it is, opposites and everything is going to be correct. So at least HMRC aren't going to be out of pocket. Yeah, there might have been the wrong VAT being thing and all that can be sorted, but it just means that the right VAT overall is correct. And I think that's if they want this e-invoicing to catch on, we need a carrot and stick. We've learned too many times that without a carrot and stick, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Let's revolutionize this. Let's be innovative. Let's do something different to what it is. It's like me and you always talk about, isn't it? About Apple. There's frustration, isn't it? Because they're always late to the game on something and everything else. But typically they come to that party with something new and something cool and something innovative. Like, why can't the UK be that? Why can't we be late to the game on the invoicing but show the world how it's done? Do you know what I mean? Like isn't
HMRC involved?
We've got to learn. Like we've got to do this differently, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. Right, we are at 9:30, so we'll just fly through the last couple of comments. Catherine said we're responsible for patrolling benefits too. Cheryl says, how far will this go? Fuel stations, etc. Well, this is the problem. Like a lot of business transactions go through the fuel stations, but it's technically a business to customer transaction unless there's a fuel account. Clive says, in Ireland, the person receiving the VAT invoice is responsible for ensuring that it is accurate and compliant. Errors on you, not the sender. And Paul says, I can see them introducing spot VAT checks on the back of this. And let's not get started on the RC implications. Well, yeah.
First charge,
Yeah. I remember when I had a VAT inspection a few years ago for a client, the guy came out in person, met us, we walked him around the facility, sat down, he said, well, you've just shown me you've got EPOS tills. What are you? How are you filing your VAT returns? Oh, we're doing it through QuickBooks. Oh, why am I here? I said, I don't know. Why are you here? Well, I've got to come and make sure you're MTD VAT compliant. So what? And you can't see that through your APIs that we're filing through the MTD VAT API. No, we don't. We don't have that information. Another department has that information. So what? So yeah, all fun and games. Right, Aaron, off to Milton Keynes next. What are you up to this week?
Silverstone. So I literally have today, tomorrow at work, and then I'm going to try and take the rest of the week off. We'll see how that goes. I mean, we might be dependent on internet access anyway, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, off to Silverstone, which does mean I may not be in next week's episode for to everyone, but we'll see. We'll see. I might be able to nip in, but I've got to imagine. I can only imagine the internet situation isn't going to be great in a field, nonetheless. So we'll see.
Yeah, fair
enough. What about yourself? Yeah,
I am home today, and then I'm in Chudley office in Exeter Tuesday through to Friday. So flying down tomorrow morning, fly back Friday, spend a couple of days with the team down there, which I'm looking forward to.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that'll be inspiring for both sides, won't it? That's what it's all about.
I hope so. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much to everyone that's joined us, commented in the comments, etc. We will be back here next week for episode 192 of the Ask the Accountant Monday morning live show. That's everything from me.
That's everything from me. Put your guesses in the comments who's joining Johann next week. We'll see who gets it right. Cheers, everyone.
Bye. See you later. Bye.